Welcome back here, ladies and gentlemen. Cowboys Fan Show, Tyler Ortega, joined by Michael Sanchez. And Mike, it's time to dive a little bit deeper into that win on Thanksgiving against the Washington Redskins. First things first, first topic today. Are you sold on Coop yet? He had a monster game, as we said, 8 catches, 180 yards, 2 touchdowns, the longest pass completion of Dak's career on that 90-yard touchdown, and I'm sure that's probably the longest reception of Cooper's career as well. We've got some highlights here to show you guys. So, are you sold on Coop yet?
I'm sold on Cooper. I think that 2.5, 3 weeks that he had to get a little bit of rhythm with Dak is really showing and really starting to pay off. We mentioned during the break, 3rd down, he's the man they go to, and that's who you need in a 1. And he's been producing. He just produces. I'm sold.
Yeah, and as you were saying, on those 3rd downs, we saw it on our very first drive. It was a 3rd and 4. Prescott airs it out to him, and then again on a 3rd and 2, we see it in the second quarter. And you can just see, Mike, the dynamic that he brings with his route running ability. He creates exceptional separation. So even though Dak Prescott may not be the most accurate of quarterbacks, look at that. He just put a guy on his knees, snatched his ankles there on that 40-yard touchdown. And not only is he such a good route runner, he has a big body, he has great hands, and as we saw there on Thursday, his speed after the catch is just off the charts.
Yeah, his speed after the catch, and like you alluded to with the big body, the man is a strong man. On both of those where he broke away, he did do a good cut, got himself some separation, and then showed from that power, turned on the jets, and just took it off, took it to the house.
Yeah, and I think it's fair to say, is this an upgrade on Dez Bryant?
I would say, I think that's a fair assessment to say. Yeah. And to touch on one other thing where everybody was so upset about that 1st-round pick, we were going 1st round next year with a receiver.
Right.
We've got what we've got, and we know, shoot, with the 22 catches with the Raiders first half of the season, he didn't do anything. No. 22 with us, he's lighting it up. I'm very sold on Coop.
Yeah, so big day for Amari Cooper. Let's keep this going just for the sake of this 90-yard touchdown, Mike. That was incredible, and obviously the stadium noise was deafening when that touchdown happened. So big game for Amari Cooper. I think not only is he an upgrade on Dez Bryant, I think he's more of a sort of a younger Dez Bryant. He's got the big body, he's got the good hands, but the thing that separates him from Dez, I think, is the speed. Dez did not have that huge, the breakaway speed that we've seen here from Amari Cooper.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And, and he has that breakaway speed with the strength. And I'd add one other thing that he's got a little bit different than Dez. They both have the drive and the fire when they're playing. Cooper catches the ball, and much like the old school players, gives it to the ref and walks back. There's not a distraction factor.
That's actually what I was going to say next, is that you don't hear headlines from Amari Cooper. In fact, since he's been with the team, I don't think I've heard one quote from him aside from him saying that he was excited to be in Dallas.
Right, yeah, and the only other quote that I heard was he said, "No, I'm not here to prove the Raiders wrong. I'm here to prove the Cowboys right."
Yeah.
And that right there is a PC statement from a player much like of the Jerry Rice era. And to me, that's golden. And that's a 1st-round pick right there. Let's extend this man.
So from one offensive weapon to another, we touched on the big game that Amari Cooper had. Let's have a look at what Zeke Elliott did on the ground against, well, not Zeke, but Dak Prescott. I mean, Dak Prescott had a monster game, Mike. 307 total yards. He had 289 yards passing. Did some work on the ground as well. And all in all, I think what I saw there from Dak is that he never got rattled. He was never shaken. He was never flustered. There was a point there for a minute when the Cowboys were down, and he just stuck to his guns, and he kept going out there and slinging it.
I agree. I think that the confidence with Cooper has added to Dak's repertoire. It's got him another tool in his tool bag, and he knows that when he's flustered, he's got an outlet, which is making him play with more fire. 3 weeks ago, we were talking about him not being elite.
Right.
Now, 3 weeks consecutive, big yards in the passing and big yards with his legs.
Yeah, and
he's putting it together.
And not just total game yards in terms of big numbers. We're seeing him actually throw the ball downfield. It's no longer these 5 to 7 yard passes.
Right.
We're seeing these, routinely now where he's throwing over 10 yards, 15-yard passes. And just on those touchdowns to Cooper, both of them almost 20-yard passes, and they were turned into touchdowns.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you don't see the 7-yard average anymore. He moved it in these last 3 weeks. I think it's 11.4.
Yeah.
I'll take that. That's a first down on every pass.
Yeah.
And another thing that he's done, I think, knowing that he does have that one, is he'll throw the ball away. And we mentioned he shouldn't take the sack, but he's not throwing it away into traffic.
Right.
He's protecting the ball better. And I'll take a sack and punt it away, live to fight another day.
Yeah, so big day for Dak as well as Cooper, as well as Zeke. So looking at the bigger picture here, Mike, the Cowboys are back in the hunt. They're back in the driver's seat. They're atop the NFC East right now. Although they're tied with Washington on record, they do own the tiebreaker. Both teams sitting at 6-5. So without looking too much into our matchup against the Saints, the Cowboys' remaining games, Mike, we've got the Saints, we've got the Eagles, the Colts, the Buccaneers, and the Giants. Those are our remaining games left on our schedule. The only one I really see a problem with Dallas having, obviously, the Saints. They're probably one of the 3 best teams in the league right now, and Drew Brees is just playing out of his mind, as Drew Brees always does.
Yes.
But looking at that Saints game, I think it's winnable. But looking past that Saints game, I think Dallas can definitely run the table.
I absolutely agree. I would agree with everything you said. The only other guy that's been putting up really big numbers, but I don't count him very clutch, is that young man down in Indianapolis. He's been playing very well,
yeah.
But to maintain that consistency to when we meet him, I feel very good about our chances. Should we lose this one this weekend, I feel strong about running the table to get out of here. And we mentioned on the break, I think it comes down to December 9 versus Philly.
Yeah.
That will decide the division.
Right. Well, and I think not only did that game on Thursday, was it a big win that vaults Dallas up into the first place in the division, I think that game really signified a shift of power in the NFC East. I think right now, what we saw last week between all 4 teams from Dallas, obviously beating Washington, they were comfortably up for majority of that game. It was a good win for Dallas, and New York is what they are. I think they're 3-8 now, yeah. And Philly, nobody can really figure Philly out. No. They're teetering on mediocrity, but we know that they have the weapons to be great. It's always a tough game against Philadelphia, so I do think Dallas is the best team in the division after seeing that win on Thursday.
I agree, and I think it comes down to the old adage of, in football, you don't want to be hot in the beginning. You want to be hot in November, December, and if you look at us, to coin our defense, yeah. The hot boys are keeping us in games. And I do think we are the class of the East right now. So we're the team to beat. We're
going to step away for just a moment. When we return, we will dive a little bit deeper into our upcoming matchup against the New Orleans Saints. We'll get Mike's keys to the game, so don't go anywhere. It's the Cowboys Fan Show.